Hey. Come on down. You need a victory? Does your team suck? Are you on a 9-game losing streak? Are you the worst team in the Western Conference? Well, if you're playing the Suns and they don't have Kevin Durant, you get a victory, and you get a victory, and you get a victory. Everybody gets a victory if there's no Kevin Durant on the Phoenix Suns. He's out again. The Suns lose again, Matthew. Simple as that. The Suns are a fucking shitty team without Kevin Durant.
They are, but when you saw Brandon Ingram coming back, where you're like, all right, here we go. First game back after 5 games missed. I thought he wasn't going to play tonight, but of course, against the Suns, he's there. He's ready. He's ready to score 21 points in one quarter and just take the Suns out. It's frustrating because you want these easy wins right now without Kevin Durant, but still, when Brandon Ingram's playing and he's the best player, it's frustrating as hell because we got 2 guys on the other side, and Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, that you just want to get the job done. They can't do it.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And, Herb Jones is returning. First time he's played in 18 games. First time I think he's played all season for the team. So their team's getting healthy right at the right time. The Suns are without Yusuf Nurkic. They're without Kevin Durant. They're without Ryan Dunn. But you hope that a team that's returning 2 rotational pieces is going to have a little bit of rust on it. But the sheer fact that the Phoenix Suns have, they're allergic. They don't have a peanut allergy. It's an allergy to defense. And they allow a team that has won 4 games all season to score 45 points in one quarter. It's embarrassing. And they lose tonight in the Big Easy, 126-124. Shouldn't have been that close. Shouldn't have had any amount of worry going into this, knowing that of the 3 games that they have upcoming, this was going to be the easiest one. This is the one that we thought the Suns would put in the bag. And they got bagged in this one. So we're going to talk about that and so much more on this edition of the Suns Jam Session Podcast. Thank you for joining us. My name is John Voita, a.k.a. Darth Voita on the socials. You can read my writing over at brightsideofthesun.com, where I'm the managing editor. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Matthew Listy, one of our senior writers over at Brightside. You can follow him. They can follow you now, right?
Yeah, I'm at 27 followers right now. I do put out the message on Twitter every time Suns game is played. I try to. That Matthew Listy is back. So if you want all the latest updates, injury news, anything going on behind the scenes with the good stuff, follow me, man. I'm back on it. Matthew Listy. No one took it when I was gone. At Matthew Listy. Come follow me. Have a good time.
Matthew Listy.
I just want to have a good time with you guys and not watch the Suns anymore.
He's like the Brandon Ingram of Twitter, just coming back
coming back
scoring
right
21 points in the third quarter. A reminder to everybody that Dave King's Brightside Night is coming up on a month away. It's going to be on January 9th against the Atlanta Hawks. So if you haven't had a chance to, follow the link in the description below. Make a $15 donation, which the Phoenix Suns will match. And that's going to send a kid to go see the Phoenix Suns so you can baptize them in the misery that is being a fan of this franchise. Start them early so they can continue to buy the jerseys. That's our policy here. So it's Thursday night. Crack a beer if you got them. And let's talk about the what, the why, the fuck. What the why the fuck happened to the Phoenix Suns in the Big Easy tonight, losing by a final score of 126-124 to a team that entered 4-18 on the season and 3-7 at home. Granted, they've been hampered unbelievably by injuries, but the fact that the Suns, who should possess some semblance of chemistry, even without Kevin Durant and Yusuf Nurkic on the floor, completely fumbled this one away is beyond comprehension. And it brings me to my first question.
Matthew, I've got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask, are you shocked the Suns came out flat?
Did they really? You think so?
They did in the first, and they did in the third.
In the third, definitely. Yeah, the third was really bad. The first quarter, they did, but they kind of held in there, and it wasn't that bad of a lopsided kind of victory in the first quarter for the Pelicans. So I thought they were okay in the first to start. it's nice to get the 15 points from Booker in the first quarter because obviously you kind of want him to play the whole game, but maybe 5 or 6 minutes just with Kevin Durant being out. But that's really all you kind of got from him in that first quarter. So he was a guy that, was going to come out, lead us to a victory, but also he needed the guys around to help. So the fact that they stood up in the second quarter, had a good second quarter, like, it made me feel a little bit better about this team. And the fact that they were down by like 10 twice and came back, I felt pretty good about this team. And I actually thought they had a chance to win it tonight. But in the first quarter, man, the first half with this team is just, it's been kind of miserable at times, but I keep them in the back of my mind. Like when we're doing the playback, we're just sitting there like, it's okay. It's okay. Oh, loss. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It's all right. It's all right. Loss. So it's one of those things that the Suns kind of got to get rid of moving forward, come out a little bit stronger. But right now, man, they got to find themselves again.
Yeah, it's this search for an identity without Kevin Durant because they gave up an 8-0 run to start the game, and they battled back and were leading at one point in the first quarter, but they gave up 34 points in the first quarter to the Pelicans. And it's once again one of those situations where you take a look at this team and you're trying to understand who they are as you understand that they are a team like the majority of teams out there who are dealing with injuries. But at the same time, even though they're dealing with these injuries, you have to have leaders step up and play appropriately. And I feel like, one of the challenges that the Phoenix Suns have had this whole season is, they have a negative net rating in that first quarter when it comes to their offensive and defensive rating, kind of combined, they're negative. And as you mentioned, Devin Booker, is trying to set the tone. The rest of the team kind of has to stand up. But the challenge with this Suns team, especially without Kevin Durant, is their best defense is their offense. And that's not a winning formula. And what that means is the only way that they're going to have a productive quarter is if they're playing well offensively. They don't have the ability to shut teams down defensively. I don't see them scheming appropriately when another team is getting on a hot streak, a la Brandon Ingram in the third quarter, where again, this team, the New Orleans Pelicans, the 4-win Pelicans, scored 45 points in the third quarter. They didn't start doubling him. They were allowing him to just continue to feel himself. And it was single coverage, and they were putting themselves in a bad situation and not trying to force the issue. You combine that with the fact that they have this issue where they're somewhat allergic to the ball. 17 turnovers, 24 points off turnovers given up. It's a recipe for disaster. And I've had this conversation with you before. It's one we'll continue to have throughout the season. But all of that leads me to the same conclusion, is that this is a mentally weak basketball team, that they don't have the fortitude mentally to overcome themselves, to get out of their own way, to look at across the court, see a team that has 4 wins and go, you know what? We're snatching their souls tonight. This team has lost 9 consecutive games. We're going to make it 10. That should be the rallying cry. Make it 10 for this team. Let's leave the Big Easy with the win in our pocket and that home team frustrated. But instead, due to that lack of mental tenacity and toughness, they get in their own way. They play out of sync. They just kind of have this lackadaisical way with the ball, and it allows the opposing team to get confidence. It allows Brandon Ingram to find himself and get his shot off because they're allowing opposing teams to dictate and impose their will upon them, not vice versa.
Yeah, I agree with some of that. But a lot of guys out there, they struggle with their penis size. So I think they do like a skin graft thing to where you can add skin to it to make it look a little bit better.
Really?
So can Booker do that with his penis? Just put some of his penis on his hands or on his arms to extend them a little bit? Because my thing is, I feel like this team is the Pelicans are just way too long, man. Beal and Booker struggle against them at times in this game when the defense, the double teams and all that is really, really taking a step up for the Pelicans, and Booker cannot get a shot off like at the end of the game, which is ridiculous. But it reminds you of back couple postseasons ago when the Suns just really struggled against this Pelicans team.
Yep.
They're so long and they clog the passing lanes. Booker really has no chance if he's double teamed. I just think that this team isn't really built to play a team like this, especially with the guys coming back from injury. I know they lost 9 in a row, but then that's the recipe for success on their end. It's like 9 in a row, we gotta win 1, right? We can't lose 10 in a row.
But why is it always gotta be against the Suns?
I
Why do
don't
we
know.
have to be
It's
the
like
slump busters?
and I don't know why, like, so the Suns coming into this game, it doesn't seem like they really gave up at any time. They kept fighting back.
They
And I
did.
know we talked about their mentality and they're mentally weak at times, but tonight it just seemed like, Beal rolling on the floor, twisting his ankle, just struggling at sometimes to really manage the ball. Booker the same way. It's just like this team cannot match up well against the Pelicans. And it just sucks to see because the Pelicans are the worst in the West. But it's like, do the Pelicans have a chance to come back? Are they going to trade these guys? Are they going to come back in the West, make it difficult? Because of the way the Suns are playing this year, they might land in the play-in, and they might have to play a team like the Pelicans who have a chance to kind of get that last spot, the 10th spot, if they go on a winning streak. That's what kind of scares me because this team, even with Durant, maybe they don't even have a chance to win because Ingram should not be the best player, even with Bradley Beal and Booker on the floor, but he is.
Mhm.
And that's the scary part because we need Booker to be better than an Ingram because when Zion comes back, he's probably going to be the best player. Then they're going to have the 2 best players out there right next to Kevin Durant. So there's a lot of things with this Pelicans team where you think you can just get a win and then you come away with a loss. And you're like, damn, dude, I don't want to face this team again because it just haunts me from the past. And they're back. They look extremely dangerous. I know it's like a little win, a 2-point win, but this might get this team a little bit of steam heading into the All-Star break.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting because you're right when it comes to how the Pelicans play and the certain brand of basketball that they play. And even though the roster is unbelievably different from when we played against this team in the postseason a few years ago, it's the same. Their team is very similar. Our team is very different, but we still have the same issues. And I really like the comment that David Yolovich says in the chat. And again, thank you for everyone who's joining in this Suns therapy session after a stupid fucking loss. It was a dumb fucking game. But he goes, we play so nervously is what David says in the chat. And that's something that I had in my notes and it's something Eddie was commenting on throughout the entire game. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to gamble on defense because that's how they're going to have to win. And what I don't understand is why the Suns never took advantage of their aggression. The Suns, again, as I mentioned just a moment ago, allowed the Pelicans to impose their will and their frenetic and over-aggressive style of defense. The Suns, instead of taking advantage of that, throw a pump fake at them. They're going to go flying by you. Do a fake pump pass, right? Because the guy's jumping every time. And if you're doing that, and if you talk in the huddle and you come together, it's like, listen, dude, they're jumping everything. Like you said, they're playing the passing lanes. So if you know that this team's trying to pick you off every chance they can, prepare for that. Do a pump fake pass, and when they jump, you're already on a back screen. Now it's a bounce pass and a layup. And not once are they taking advantage of the aggression. Instead, their aggression rushed Phoenix into some of those live ball turnovers that led to layups on the other end. And it's something that I just don't understand about this Suns team is Devin Booker has said this is a very intelligent basketball team. And you have a lot of very high basketball IQ guys playing. But there's some simplistic foundational aspects of basketball where I'm watching it. I'm like, dude, that guy's jumped the passing lane 3 times. Why not pump fake it once and just, like you're going fishing and just let him jump it. And then boom, you got an easy pass and their defense will have to collapse. Instead, the Suns, in an effort to try to keep that ball moving, became predictable.
Yeah, but we have guys like that. Maybe the only guy is Okogie, right? Okogie came in the first.
Very
really helped
fair.
Booker out because Booker was like screaming and crying at the refs for fouls, but I think he was like getting into it with his teammates too. He's like, I think he went to the bench. He's like, hey, can you put Okogie in, please? Get someone to go to the rim, be more aggressive. So he was. The only thing is, I don't feel like we have the right team to do that, right? I think Book, anytime he tried to like a pump fake, get to like the mid range, he was getting blocked from behind. Beal, every time he was getting to the rim, he just finished maybe half the time. We don't really have the bigs, but Plumlee to really finish at the rim too for little dump off passes. So that's the stroke I feel like the Suns have. But I do agree. I just think the way that the Pelicans play, they're so quick. They can like just recuperate so fast to where they can get to the offensive player that kind of goes by them after doubles. And they can just swat it away or just kind of just make their presence known at the rim. So they get there so quickly. and they just make it difficult on the Suns. So the Suns, I feel like, just could never escape this Pelicans defense, even though they were scoring 120. They scored 124 points. It just always seemed like it was such a hassle all game long to get anything going. That's why I feel like I wrote in the recap, I'm like, it was kind of a weird third quarter, right? The Suns, like, it was a blowout, but then also to start the fourth quarter, you just kind of saw like, hey, like the Suns were like struggling offensively, it seemed like, but they had shots going down. Like, it was just a weird game because the Suns, they got hot at times, but it didn't look pretty. Like, they got lucky on a lot of 3-pointers, not at the end, but through the majority of the game.
So, saying all that and observing all of that, what are your thoughts on this Suns team without Kevin Durant?
Well, besides the fart, I honestly think that this team is okay. So with Kevin Durant, I don't think we can win a title. Without Kevin Durant, no doubt we will not win a title. I just struggle to trust Beal and Booker because going into this game, going into the stretch, Beal had to shine, man, and he still can't get over the 30-point mark, and it's just kind of frustrating to me. He hit, I mean, what do you have, 28 points tonight? Or I'm sorry, 24. So it's just like, that's the difference. If he can get over 30 points, then we win the game. It's just like, we need that extra boost. So right now, I'm not trusting anybody. I mean, how do you feel like with the team without Durant? It's I don't
very
really want
much
to watch
the
the game.
same. I know that when this game was close late, in the past, you feel like, okay, we have a shot. In this one, technically, we had a shot. Even though the Suns became unbelievably predictable in the scheme and the final play that they wrote up with 2+ seconds left, like, we're just going to give it to Booker as far away from the rim as possible and watch him get blocked instead of going, you know what, let's maybe try to get Beal or do a play where you're doing a statue literary play or a back screen or something that's attacking the rim and have an opportunity. You're down 2. You're down 126 to 124, and you're like, let's give it. All right, check this out, guys. Booker's going to be double teamed no matter what, right? Like, if we throw him the ball, 2 guys are going to rush him like they've been doing all game, and forcing the ball out of his hands. So what we're going to do is we're going to give him to him in that exact spot, about 28 feet from the basket, and watch him just get stuffed instead of putting together a quality play. So I'm with you. I don't trust many aspects of how this team can operate offensively without Kevin Durant because he's a calming force. I wouldn't go as far to say he's a leader. I know that people are, well, Kevin Durant's the leader on the court. No, he's just simply the best fucking player. And what he does and the gravity that he brings and the shot making that he possesses and the difficult shot making that he has shown us time and time again is something that you cannot replicate with Devin Booker or Bradley fucking Beal. So let's talk about those guys.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Big Dick Booker.
So entering this game, Devin Booker in his last 4 games against the Pelicans averaged 46.8 points, 6.5 assists, 44% from beyond the arc, and 62% from the field. Tonight, after 15 points he scored in that first quarter, he ends with a grand total of 28 points on 6 of 20 shooting. That's 30% from the field. That matches what he shot from beyond the arc, 3 of 10, 30%. 13 of his 28 points came at the line where he was 13 of 14. He had 4 total rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, and almost a team worst, -10. So it's understandable that Devin Booker struggled in this one because much akin to when Kevin Durant was hurt before. The opposing team just goes, okay, just keying on that guy because we know that 2 things are going to happen. 1, we're going to fluster him and he's going to turn the ball over, or 2, he's going to pass out of any double team thrown his way late enough to where we can recover. And that's what we saw. It was wash, rinse, repeat after that first quarter. Because then again, played great in the first quarter, ended up with 15 points on 4 of 10 shooting and 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. So he started the game 3 of 4 from deep, and he ended the game 0 of 6 from deep. So, I mean, Devin Booker, it's a conversation that we've had on the podcast. Somebody who, as a Suns fan, you'll always love, respect, and appreciate being here in the Valley. And I hope his career ends here. But he can't be the guy. He has to be he has to be the Robin. And when he's forced into these Batman roles, teams now have enough tape over the years to realize when he has to be Batman, all you have to do is throw some riddles at him, and he's kaput.
Yeah, he's having a tough time. Tonight, he was just never comfortable. I just want to get to a quick comment, too, from Mr. Brennis or Breens. Suns need to make trades. So I don't know if I was talking with Gavin last podcast, and we don't really think they're going to make any trades. I don't know if there's anything out there to really add to this team. But the fact is, like, I'm looking at the best players on this team, And in order for us to win a championship, we have to have the best players on the court. So we have to really rely on Kevin Durant to be that guy through the first 12 games that he's played with the Suns. I just don't know if I can rely on that because of the injuries. And plus, like, if he's out, like, we don't have the best players going to the playoff on the court. We just don't, because Booker tonight, he had all the help he needed. I feel like the team played really tremendous all game long, just because, like, they're not making every shot, but like they were there to really help Booker out in really bad times, being down by 10. Like, you had Royce O'Neal coming through to get 5 points straight. Monte Morris hitting some big threes. Like, Grayson Allen, like, almost having a triple double or whatever. Like, he had all the help he needed. He had Beal too at times, but it still wasn't enough. Like, he had the last shot and he couldn't get it off. And like, that's the frustrating part, is because we couldn't even get a shot off. And I can't believe we didn't even really talk about that. Like, yet, like, to be double teamed and have your shot blocked with no foul, that's a really rough way to end the game. So I like the fact they went to Book, because I want him to take that shot. But obviously, like, he just is just struggling where I just don't trust him to make it. Like, earlier I said, like, hey, we have a chance to win this game, but I really think we would? No, because the recap, I said the Suns lost, it's over. I don't think they're going to make a fucking three. I can't count on Booker to make it. If Kevin Durant's in there, then maybe. But right now, Booker is struggling to be the number one, which he's never going to be. But the number two, I guess he can be that guy. It's tough to look forward to the Western Conference playoff race, because these other teams, they just have so many better players. Like, all their best players are just so much better than what we have in Book and Beal. And it's kind of, it's a letdown, because like tonight, even though Ingram had the 21 points in the third quarter, the Suns had their chances and the team was there to back Booker up, and he just could not get it done tonight. Obviously, it's a long season, but this is one I would have loved for Beal or Booker to hit a big fucking three to win the game.
Yeah, even though we shouldn't have been in that situation against the worst team in the Western Conference, it would have been nice, but there was some recklessness to his play in that second half. And there was, again, as I mentioned earlier, how the Pelicans imposed their will and sped the Suns up instead of the Suns playing with more control and trying to take advantage of the gambles they were taking defensively. Booker was a personification of that. And his poor shooting in the second half, which let's pull up those second half numbers. So Devin Booker in the second half was 2 of 9 from the field and 0 of 5 from beyond the arc. He had 13 points because he was 9 of 10 from the line, because he knew, he's like, hey, the only way to get some points here, because of the way that they're rushing me and blitzing me, is to attack the interior. And good on him for getting to the line. But at the same time, there's some reckless play. Like, I mean, he had a layup at the end where, again, he passed out of it. Yeah. And it wasn't a layup. It probably would have been blocked. But Booker was crashing so hard that, again, just stop. Dribble, stop. They'll go flying by. You can jump into them. You can maybe have an and one opportunity. Stuff that Booker normally does. And they weren't in that mindset. And it's that mentally weak mindset that I continue to reference, because it's what I'm observing. It's what I'm seeing from this team, is a lack of that edge. And you make a great point about, you look at the other teams in the Western Conference that ultimately the Suns are going to have to match up against. And there's one key when I think of, and I go through and I look at all the teams and their best players, a lot of them play with control. And like Kevin Durant plays with control. Luka, SGA, these guys play with control. The Nikola Jokic, that's the definition. Their foundation as a basketball player and their skill set is they are controlled players. And Booker isn't always a controlled player. Again, great to be the Robin, can't be the Batman. And the guy who you need to be the Batman or the Robin right now is Bradley Beal.
And she said, you're not the only one, but you're the best, Bradley.
Standpoint, a good night for Bradley Beal. He was 10 of 18 from the floor, 2 of 7 from beyond the arc, which is 28.6%, 24 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, but it's the 7 turnovers that really hurt the Suns. And again, when you play against a team like the Pelicans that's desperate, that have lost 9 in a row, you can't turn the ball over and just give them free points. And the challenge I have with Beal is the way that he's approaching the game is something that he needs to just sometimes just take the shot. Because what Beal's been doing, and this is my observation kind of since he joined the Suns, is he needs to do less. He gets the ball, and sometimes he'll be wide open, and he'll dribble himself into defensive pressure. and he'll make it tougher on himself. When the shot is presented itself, the offensive opportunity that you were seeking in a possession to get a wide open shot from Bradley Beal, who's a good 3-point shooter, it'll be sitting right there for him, and he'll try to attack. And that's where he needs to do less. Shoot more, do less. Stop trying to attack the cylinder, because a couple things happen when he starts to attack the cylinder. One, it appears that he has like Crisco on his hands. The guy, I haven't seen a lot of clean dribbles from Bradley Beal. No. He does a lot of great herky-jerky stuff with his body, but from a handle standpoint, he's like the farthest thing from Kyrie, or he's closer than I am. He's closer to me than he is to Kyrie Irving when it comes to his handles, I feel. And two, when he does attack the interior, one thing that we've seen is due to his frenetic herky-jerkiness is that's how he gets injured, because he tries to adjust and do weird things in the air and gets bumped and flies. And, just take the shot more, Brad. Just focus on being more like Grayson Allen or Royce O'Neal.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the same exact thing. Just make it a little bit easier. That's exactly what he was doing tonight, was making it a little bit more difficult on himself. And he does that a lot. I think he maybe had one finish at the rim tonight where it went in, but even when it goes in, it's so drastic, and like he comes down so awkwardly still, and like he flails his arms and his body goes everywhere. It's hard to watch at times, so I get a little nervous with it. But handling the ball too much, doing too much is always a thing, especially against a team like the Pelicans. It's not really necessary. I thought he had a good game tonight, but like I said, like I was really itching for like a 30-point average in the next 3 games from Beal to really get up there, because we're going to need it to win these next 3 games. And you can say, hey, it's just one game, right? We already won 3 games in a row. It's like, no, like this is a game that the Suns should have won, and it comes at the hands of Beal and Booker. Beal had a chance tonight to really win this game, and he tied it in a with a 3 in the fourth quarter, a nice 3 where you kind of thought maybe the game was over again when the Pelicans were up by 6, but the Suns came back, tied the game. He was always there in big moments, but it's just not enough yet. So my biggest concern is if he can stay on the floor and he can stay consistent with this team, then of course, like he can get himself in those situations where he's really thriving with this team in the big moments. Because right now he's in the big moments, but he's not really coming through, kind of like Booker. But he'll get there maybe, but can he stay healthy, right? Can he just, because he did tweak his ankle tonight, and Eddie Johnson said, oh my. Yeah, Beal did twist his ankle, and he was down for a little bit, came back in. We'll see if he plays Friday night. I'm pretty sure he will. He played through it the whole rest of the game, but we'll see. I mean, even KD came back for a little bit, but he was gone for the second half. But that's the thing, man. Like those ankles are going to be twisted. So I think Beal can get into that groove to where he can really be counted on, but it's just like, he's just not playing enough.
Yeah, he has to play more, obviously. I think that's something that we all want, and we know that this team needs. And again, one of the challenges that we have is when he's out there on the court with Devin Booker, it's just something that it still feels like they haven't figured it out. There was that possession late in the game where like Booker had the ball, and then he tossed it to Bradley Beal, and Bradley kind of tried to penetrate, and then he passed it back to Booker. Yep. Booker passed it back to him, and finally they passed it back to Booker, and Booker drove and got fouled. But at the same time, it's just like there's no fluidity there, and that's where Tyus Jones should be utilized. In all honesty, that's where I don't need Tyus Jones, and I've mentioned this before. I don't need Tyus Jones bringing the ball up. Like that's not what matters to me. But on every possession, especially late in the game, at some point the ball should touch Tyus Jones' hands, because he doesn't turn the ball over. And let's see how many times he turned over tonight. Just once. All right. Meanwhile, you're putting the ball in the hands of Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, who combined for 10 of our 17 turnovers. The back end of a game, I just like a little security, and just he doesn't need to set up the whole possession. Just run it through him, because he might find an opportunity to do something. And I think that's again, that goes to show you that from Bradley Beal. And again, it's so frustrating we can't trade this guy, dude. It's so fucking frustrating we can't trade this guy. Like I do like Bradley Beal. I like his fire.
Yeah.
But man, like
it's just weird. I don't even know what to think of this team.
Hard watching play basketball, because like I mentioned, he just he runs himself out of possessions, and then he like for some reason, like there's a magnet in the bottom of his shoe, and it instantly attracts to other shoes. And just,
yeah, it's just like it's like, oh, the floor's hot lava. Let me just step on everyone's shoes and get to the rim. Like, that's what it seems like. And not to mention, like I forgot to mention the the guy's yelling in his ear when he's shooting the three. Like that was
what
loud
was
and really
that?
fucking annoying. And that one lady yelling the whole fucking game.
Oh my god,
Where was
dude.
she at?
So I posted it
Oh
on
my
Twitter,
God.
but I was just like,
Sure.
K or EJ and K Ray just need to turn around and tell that bitch to be cool. Like what's Fonzie like? He's cool. That's right, Yolanda, and that's what we gonna be. We gonna be cool, right? Because she just the whole time. So I went to the Zach Bryan concert on Tuesday. I missed the Spurs game, and there was some she's probably 16-year-old chick sitting like 3 rows behind us. And thankfully, she didn't know the whole catalog of Zach Bryan because the 3 songs she did know, she didn't sing them. She just screamed them the whole time. I'm just sitting there, I'm like, God, I'm glad you don't know more of the songs. You're fucking.
Can you imagine being with that person? Like, just
Oh my
knowing you're going to
God.
go out to a concert or a game and they're going to be screaming the whole time. Like, do you have any friends? How do you have friends? Are you their drug dealer or something? Like, I don't understand how you keep friends.
Oh man, it's just throw a quick just elbow into him and whatnot.
Yeah, just a little one, knock him out.
NBD,
trash can.
Like, oh, oops, just cold shoulder.
Do like a Draymond Green, just punch and grab and just put her on the ground.
Yeah, just
okay, never mind. Don't punch.
Go
a
to
woman.
sleep.
I'm not saying that.
No,
I think
it
might have been a man.
I think it was a man. I'm not assuming anything.
Hi, Barbie.
Oh, hi, Alan.
Oh, Grayson Allen, a fuck shit up guy.
Grayson Allen, a great game for him tonight. 13 points, 10 total rebounds, 6 assists, 4 assists away from a triple-double, 4 of 7 from the field, 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. I really liked what I saw from him, getting the, boxing out Yves Missy, right? Like they're a rookie. He's down low in the block, boxing out guys. That's where that physicality that he came into the season is going to pay off. What'd you see from Grayson Allen tonight?
Tonight and every night, I always feel like his britches are just really torn off. Like he's just having the hardest time keeping things together just because he's playing so physical this year with those big guns. I just feel like he's his shirt's almost about to be ripped off, or every time there's a timeout, it's like, oh God, get off of me, whatever. But he looks so flustered, never comfortable, never smiling or anything. He just looks like he's having a hard time this season still. But he had a great game tonight. But he was just doing everything else that Booker needed and Beal needed to win this game. So hell of a game from him, man. I think that the fact that he's still on the bench, he'll never be a starter, but the fact that he's on the bench, he might be getting more into a groove of what to do, what's needed from the second unit, because at times he had to be the leader. I mean, with Beal and the second unit looks good at times, but he has to be the other guy with Beal. And I think he was tonight for sure. Yeah,
you're going to need that. And you're going to need a point, I've said in the past, when you do have the big 3, if Grayson Allen hits or Royce O'Neal hits, it's a good night. When they both hit, you're going to guaranteed win. They both hit tonight.
Yeah, bling, bling, bling. Rolls, Royce, Rolls, Royce, Rolls, Royce. Yeah, nigga, Rolls, Royce.
It sucks to wait. It's just a good Rolls Royce game.
Yeah.
6 of 9, 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. He had 19 points and 7 rebounds. Should he have taken the last shot? I mean, 2 seconds left. He's got that quick trigger. They would not have expected it. Run a back screen, get him open in the corner. Raja Bell. Remember when Raja Bell took the shot against the Clippers in game 6 of the 07 or whatever? No one saw that coming. And maybe that's the best strategy instead of whatever the fuck Bud drew up at the end of this game.
Just give Booker the ball in the middle of a swarm of alligators. I think that Royce taking the shot, it would have been nice, I guess. I like Book taking the shot, just not the way it went down. But I am for Royce tonight because he's been playing well as of late. And like I said earlier with Grayson Allen, he came through starting for Kevin Durant. I just think that he just steps up always when he needs to step up. Even if he's missing a couple threes, he's gonna come through and hit a couple big threes later in the game. But he plays so big for this team. I'm with you, man. It's kind of hard to see those numbers and just know entering the fourth quarter how dominant he's been shooting wise.
Yeah.
And it just kind of goes to a waste where all these guys are kind of hitting and it's just not really even going to be worth it.
Yeah. And, John Tran says he was inbounding. He didn't have to inbound, but also who's the most dangerous guy on the play? The guy who's inbounding.
The inbounder.
And so says Jay says Royce had way too many turnovers in the fourth. He had a total of 0, so way too many. Yeah, again, he's
I've seen that
inbounding. You got
before.
almost 3 seconds. Throw it to Book.
Yeah.
Hit him right back. They won't know what hit him. And he's got such
Yeah.
a quick shot. And, John Tran also says it, and something he's the guy who looked like he gave a shit this whole game. He's the guy who was pressing them defensively. I mean, the defense he was playing on Ingram in the fourth quarter, where he was just knocking the ball out of his hands, where he sees them kind of being lackadaisical. He could have been a member of the New Orleans Pelicans tonight, because he sees, hey, this is a moment right here, this one moment where they're being a little mentally weak. I'm going to attack it. And that's like what the Pelicans do to the Suns all night long.
Yeah.
He did in a couple possessions. He had 5 consecutive points that got us back in the game. Royce O'Neal, I'm spoiling it right here, but he will be my jam star. He had an amazing night, and it just sucks because, again, you hate to waste a good night from Royce O'Neal in this situation.
Yeah, I'm with you. The whole bench too, like to go along with Royce, like they really stepped up tonight. But I think the fact that they were let down tonight, I just feel bad for those guys walking back to the tunnel after the game, walking back to the locker room. But nope, they live a great life, so I'm sure they don't give a fuck. Just like Bobo.
Look, up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's
Bobo, motherfucker.
So says Jay says, I'm just saying everyone had too many fourth quarter turnovers. Isn't that your theme? That's not my theme. The team had too many turnovers. They actually had more turnovers than we did in the fourth quarter. They had 7 turnovers, which equated to 8 points. We only had 4, but we gave up 9 points on those 4 turnovers. Bowl. We finally saw some bowl time. 6 game played this season. A grand total of how many minutes? 10 minutes, almost 11 minutes played. He had 6 points, 3 of 4 shooting. He had 4 total rebounds. He had a great first half. And then, in so says Jay fashion, too many turnovers in the second half. He had 2.
Yeah,
and
they were costly.
They were costly turnovers. They were very inopportune timed turnovers. How'd you feel seeing Bowl back out on the court, Matthew?
Oh, it was good, but those turnovers, they were just like, they were kind of cute. They're almost like kind of cute, but then serious. It's like, the game's close, but it's like, oh, maybe we can get away with
it. If it wasn't a close game, it would have been adorable.
I know, but the fact that they turned it over, I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's going to cost us a game. I'm not saying they did, but they were pretty dramatic turnovers, kind of just handling the ball too much towards the end. But he had a great game at times. Like, he was running from paint to paint. The effort was really there from him tonight. I feel like he was really giving it all, tipping the ball out, even if it didn't go his way. Winning the jump ball, even though it went out of bounds. Like, he was just all in it today. He had that put back dunk that was beautiful. So it's good to see a lot of that from Bull, but I think it was just too much. But you can see that the guy still has that confidence that he had in the first half. He still has that in him, but he just needs to do that, man. Run from rim to rim to rim to rim and just dominate down there. Do what you can to tip the ball, get the putbacks, do all that fun shit we want you to do, and then maybe hit a 3. And then like the little pump fake for the mid-range. God, I don't know if I like that shot, but thank God it went in.
Well, what is my number one problem with Bull?
Is no eyebrows.
Besides the no eyebrows thing, which I've never mentioned before ever on the podcast.
I just noticed it tonight, so I don't know if he draws them on later or something. I don't know.
It's his defensive inefficiency, right? Like 2 years ago, he was literally the worst perimeter defender in the league, and because of his size and his lack of footwork, if you will, or lateral quickness, he's a poor perimeter defender, and he's just too skinny to be a big on the interior, right? That's always my complaint with Bull is defensively, he's just a guy in the middle. But if you listen to me at all this entire podcast, I've referenced numerous times how this Suns team doesn't play fucking defense. So what's the fucking point? Play more minutes. I don't even care anymore. Like, KD's out.
That's
we
what I
don't
said
play
early.
defense.
Yeah. Earlier this season, I'm like, if we're going to have injuries, just throw them out there. We're not going to win these games. Yeah.
Well, and you're putting yourself, at least he can provide some offense or a different look to opposing teams. And that's what I thought in the first half tonight. I go, you know what? Like, he looks okay offensively. He's long. Yeah. He can grab some rebounds as needed, but he's not going to give you anything defensively. He's going to foul. That's what he does. Like, he falls for every shot fake. And if he gets beat on a perimeter defender who just goes right by him, which they will, he just fouls them as they go by him and attempting to block their shot. But why not just fucking go for it? Like, I don't care. You get him some more reps. That's what happened last year is we decided we're not a very good defensive team, even though Frank Vogel's our head coach. Let's just give him some run. And then we did. And then Frank Vogel's like, but I do care about defense, I think, and he pulled him back. Speaking of go ahead.
I was going to say, I think a lot of the times that he did play was because players didn't want to come off the bench and play for Vogel. So he's like, all right, Bobo, get in the game.
So says Jay. You're complaining about Beal and Book ball handling in the fourth because they combined for 10 of our turnovers when they combined for 1 in the fourth. Just seems a little disingenuous. No, I'm complaining about the way that they attack the game throughout, how they play with a frenetic pace that can lead to turnovers, how they don't have decisive or controlled basketball. And they had 10 of our 12 or our 17 turnovers in this game. Not just I wasn't complaining about their fourth quarter performance. I'm saying the totality of the entire game. So I wasn't just pinpointing 12 minutes of a game because they weren't the reason we lost. They are just they're not a reason we won, and that's the issue I have with Booker and Beal. We're not winning games with them, and that we should. That's $100 million worth of payroll. You think that they'd be a little bit better at handling the ball or making decisive decisions, or playing with control. Like Luka and like all these all-star SGA, all these all-star players, right? Who play with control and decisiveness and get to their spots and don't allow the opposing team that has 4 wins to dictate pace and impose their will upon them. That's the issue that I have with them. Now, when you take a look at Coach Mike Budenholzer, which I don't even know where the fuck I put his drop. Where did you delete it?
I'm in it one.
What's that?
as high as seconds on there, like 46 seconds.
Where is it?
I usually look at the seconds, so I'm trying to find it.
I can't even find it. I don't even know if I want to talk about
play fast, play random, play together, play in great space. Let's go play some basketball. Have some fun.
Food.
You playing the whole thing?
I like that he gets texts.
Yeah,
I like that when Booker's getting hounded and knocked off his spot, he's standing right there, that he gets a text. So he goes from looking like just a drunk homeless man to like a drunk homeless man who you took his Colt 45 from. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? He gets all like huffy and puffy, and I like that about him. I don't remember. Do you remember Frank Vogel ever getting a tech? The only time I felt like he ever got a tech is when EJ was calling the game. He's sitting right there. He's like, dude, if I was him, I'd be pissed. He's like, oh shit, I guess I got to be pissed now.
Oh shit, EJ said that. Yeah. Yeah, I remember him getting upset a few times for KD. I feel like he always had to because KD was getting manhandled last year, so he always had to step up and say something to the refs and get a technical. Bud this year, it's just funnier when he does it because Bud has that face, like you said, like a drunk, like Pete from Pete's Dragon or whatever. Pete's Dragon, like one guy on it, the drunk, the town drunk. Yeah, that's exactly what he looks like, and he might be seeing an imaginary dragon or something because he looks like he's lost control sometimes, but it's only because of the refs not calling fouls and giving Book a chance out there. Because there were a lot of times when Book was trying to get to his spot and he was getting cut off, and it was really frustrating. So I understand the frustration from Bud. It's nice to see that from a head coach, and obviously it didn't work tonight. So fuck Bud. I'm just kidding. I love Bud. I guess I like Bud. I think he's been better. They showed the stats. He's been better this year so far.
He's a good coach, but again, like, just teach him how to play some fucking defense. There is one question I have, like, from a schematic standpoint or from a play a guy standpoint. When a guy comes in and has an impact, like, why don't you continue to play that guy in a gritty, grimy game like this?
Hey, Joe. Where you going with that?
Josh Okogie in this game played a total of 11 minutes, and 8 of those were in the first half. And he looked great. 3 of 7 from the field. Okay, 0 of 3 from beyond the arc, where there was a couple possessions where he kind of had the ball. It was hot potato, and the clock's running out. He's in the corner, and they threw it to him, and he missed it. But he had, 6 points. He had a couple assists, a couple rebounds. When Devin Booker airballed a 3, he put it back like in one motion, like he was playing tips in 21. And he just had that energy. He's boxing guys out. He's hustling. He's stealing. And he's been a hell of a nice surprise. Why did Bud go away from him in the second half? I feel like this is the exact kind of game that he would have continued to excel in.
I think I know why. But Okogie, the end of the third quarter, that big steal he had to get to Monte for that 3 when the game was like a 10-point lead right there for the Pelicans, that was a huge play. Like, at that point, I thought maybe the game's over. But Okogie just throws himself on the floor, just snatching the ball. The reason I don't think he's playing late in the game, and like if he is playing consistently well in the paint, like being aggressive but missing threes, because they're all gonna miss fucking threes. So I don't really care about that. I think it's because I think Bud just wants to shoot the lights out with these guys and just have guys in there to shoot threes and just kind of win these games that
And
way.
that's what's
That's
wrong.
kind of what I'm just seeing. I just see all these threes. Royce is like 2 feet from behind the line. Grayson Allen's out there. Booker's out there. Beal's out there. It's just like knock down some threes and let's get the victory. So I think that's the reason why.
If that's the
one thing I
reason
could come up
why,
with.
that's where Bud is wrong. Because again, this team needs some defense. They need somebody to force the issue on that end of the floor. And Okogie, for all of his faults offensively, that is what he brings to this team. And he was showcasing that again tonight with 2 steals and in only 11 minutes. And, you give him 20 minutes, yeah, he's probably going to miss a few more threes. And maybe that's a different conversation that we're having. And obviously what we're doing right now is what I always call the disease of what if is, well, what if he played more? Maybe we would have, and that's exactly where I'm going. And, so says Jay, J-O, more like T-O. Am I right? You're 100% right. Zero total turnover. So December 15th, obviously, is coming right around the corner. That's when the majority of the NBA has the ability to be traded. Are you shopping Okogie?
No, because tonight, okay, so he is the one guy everyone wants to shop. But tonight, I was just like, so what happens in the playoffs when Dunn does get hurt, when someone is hurt? Like, Okogie's been so good this year. He really has. In all his spots he's been playing, I feel like he's been really good. I just feel like we're going to need that in the playoffs. I know this team's not going to win anything probably, but I feel like we're going to be like, damn it, why do we trade Okogie? We can really use him right now. Unless we get something else back that we really need, and I don't know what that is. I don't what is it? I don't know. What are you thinking, John?
There's not much out there. If for those of you who like to read the written word, on brightsideofthesun.com, I put a piece out last week talking about everything that's kind of out there if you were to trade Okogie, knowing that he's making $8.3 million this year. So looking at, position by position, guard, wing, and big, or guard, wing, and big, who's available? Who could you trade Okogie with? And knowing that based on who that trade is, with the best way to sell that, it's a couple different things. One, it's a team option next year. So if you're trying to do a salary dump and you got a guy who's got 3 years left on his contract, that's where you might want to trade Okogie. You can trade a veteran minimum guy to the Phoenix Suns, although they don't have multiple years attached to their contracts. But let's say you have somebody for $4 million a year and he's accelerating contract the next 3 years. You can trade him to the Suns, get Okogie, knowing that he's going to be gone next year, right? So that's like one option. Another thing the Suns could do to sweeten the pot potentially is trade their first round pick of 2031 to try to get something to fill a void. And part of me says, you know what, shop Okogie because he's not going to look better than he has this season thus far. He's having a really good season. And maybe that's why Bud is not giving him a ton of play, because if you give him a ton of play, his weaknesses start to make themselves apparent. But on a night like tonight, it's a poor decision to not continue to play him in an opportunity to give your team a victory. I think that it would be prudent for the Suns to see what they can get for Okogie. I don't know what they can get, as you mentioned. Like, I'd have to go back and look at the article because there's no true name that stood. The only names that stood out are like Tumani Kamara. Trade with the Blazers again. Get Tumani back.
Yeah, what are you doing there then?
Because Portland's going to be forced into that decision next year as he prepares to enter restricted free agency. If they want to resign him, yada yada, play all that, and they can kick that decision down the road and potentially get a first round pick from the Suns in 2031 out of the deal. So there's a few options here and there for the Suns, and it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, they do come trade deadline. So, I mean, we'll see. Why are you smiling?
Because I hate it. I hate this team. I don't hate them, but the only reason I say I hate this team is
tonight made it tough, man.
What I wanted to do this year, differently from last year, was to go into the postseason and not do this thing where it's like, do we have to add these guys like buyouts and stuff like that to help this team? Like, I don't want to do that. I want to be okay with this team and say like, this is a contender. I think at times maybe they look like it with Kevin Durant, but I just don't want to do this again.
Do you think they're like a piece away or 2 pieces away to
we're a piece away
that expectation?
If we trade Devin Booker for SGA, then we're a piece away. Like, if we do something like that, then yes, we will win a title. But right now, Booker's showing me nothing that confirms a title. So that's the struggle I'm having with this team right now.
Basketball Reference, if you go to their standings page, it'll tell you the total odds as of right now for each team to, get to the playoffs, get to the finals and what have you. I think what I'll do is let's see if I can pull this up real quick. And all right, yeah, playoff right there on the homepage. It'll say playoff probabilities. All right, so let's share this for those of you who are listening. Give me a second, and I will read off what I'm sharing. All right, can you see that, Matthew?
I see it. Let's take a look.
All right, so looking at the Western Conference currently, and this doesn't factor in tonight's game,
Ugh.
but you look at the first round seed. The Suns currently have 0 chance, it says, of making this. The Oklahoma City Thunder have an 81.9% chance of getting the number 1 overall seed. But the Suns right now are the best they can do is go 58-24, and they have a 46% chance of making the playoffs. That's what this says. A 46% chance. They don't have a 50-50 shot at making the playoffs, according to this. Right now, according to the Basketball Reference, the Suns are going to be a play-in team. They have, being the 7th seed, they have a 12.7% chance of that happening. An 8th seed, a 16.1%.
Terrible.
Yeah, and then you look at winning the conference, a 0.5% chance to win the conference. You look at winning the finals, a 0.1%. Now, obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into this, and this is purely conjecture, and anything can happen. That's why we watch the games, because if we didn't care, we just look at this and be like, well, it doesn't look like the Suns are going to do shit. But right now, they have them kind of going 43-38. Again, a team that when we heard the over-under on this team was going to be like 49.5 this year, 48, 47.5, right? Fucking bang the over on that. That's not even going to be hard for them to get to, based on how they've performed thus far this season. It's, that's where we're at.
Yeah, I don't think we even had the highest percentage of any of those seeds too. Like, the fact that I think you look at the San Antonio Spurs at 11-10. And they are the 10th seed. That's how hard it's going to be. That's why all these games matter. And that's why we get so frustrated, because we need these wins.
All these games
it's a long
matter.
season, but it's a lot more injuries down the road too. So,
and that's the issue. Like, we always have done that had that philosophy. It's like, oh, it sucks, but man, it's only game 21. It's like, but then at the end of the season, they're in a bad situation. And we thought, you look back every year, you're like, fuck, man, the Spurs, if we only had beat them one more time, we would have been the 5th seed, and yada, yada, yada. So says Jay, who might as well just be on this podcast because I keep referencing everything that he says. He says, tell me what Vegas says. All right, well, I'm going to look up DraftKings real quick, and let's just do DraftKings NBA futures.
What are they, like 8th?
Let's see, NBA futures. All right. And it goes champion for the Suns. They are plus 1,900. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. Yep.
Nice.
Conference winner, the Suns are 4th. Division winner, and that's where I have money. They're still the best, supposed to win the division. So says Jay's point, trust Vegas more than Basketball Reference, but still, you see those numbers, and it's somewhat.
That's crazy. They got the Grizzlies way back 12.
Deflating.
That's my team, dude.
Jam star of the game.
I did do the subreddit stakeout, and I will read. There was like 14 comments the whole game. It was just like, if Devin Booker
people on the stands, dude,
the center, he'd win a few championships. And is Mid City Yacht Club still a bar to watch the game? Any other like Mid City?
I love that. What is that?
That's like a great bar.
I love it when they just talk about random shit. Like, only
like
their fans would know. I love that.
Look at Mid City Yacht Club, dude. Like, is that a good place to watch the game, or should I go down to fucking Katrina's Forge? Jam star of the game. I'm giving it to Royce O'Neal. If you're watching along live in the chat, let us know who your jam star is. But I'm going Royce O'Neal on this one, man. I mean, it's just, he played with control tonight. He played with control.
Yeah. I'm going with Keith Nettles. A deer, a female deer. I'm going to give it to...
drop a golden sign.
I'm going to get to Royce. No der. Yeah, great game tonight, buddy. Too bad. You have to go back.
Suns jam. Royce and Bowl.
Bowl.
Royce O'Neal's a jam star for sure. Build around him. Oy vey. All right, up next for the Phoenix Suns, we head to South Beach to play the Miami Heat, also without Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
we'll see on Nurkic. A team we beat earlier this season, but a team that, with a head coach like Eric Spoelstra, I don't see us winning this game. Like I saw us going 1-2 on this little road trip before our week off, and I don't see us winning this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. Obviously, they beat the Lakers by 40 points, 41 points.
Well, that's not saying much, is it?
No, it's nice to see that actually. So thank you. I don't see the Suns winning anything in the future, so they can go 0 for what 60, 0
Something
for
like
58. I can believe that.
We're so positive.
I know, terrible.
Real quick, I didn't catch the last podcast. Thoughts on the Suns not making the NBA Cup?
Oh, we didn't care at all. I actually
Good.
just forgot. I already forgot about it anyways. It didn't matter to me. What were your thoughts on it? Because I know you sided with it's nice that we got two easy matchups against the Spurs and the Portland Trailblazers. Oh no, it wasn't the Spurs. It was the Trailblazers and who?
The Jazz.
Jazz. Yeah, that's who it was. So
Yeah,
that was
when
nice.
I think of the NBA Cup, it doesn't matter. It's like the All-Star game. It doesn't matter.
No.
And the Suns got Hannah Montana, the best of both worlds in this. Like they beat the Spurs. And again, this is why the Suns are just fucking drive you crazy because they beat the Spurs and they have a good game and they come out and they shit the bed against the fucking Pelicans. But like, remind me what the incentive is in the NBA Cup. It's like $500,000 to only the winners. So like millionaires get some more money and they get like a hat and the lamest bragging rights ever. Like who do you brag to that you've won the NBA Cup? Is it like you're sitting around the Thanksgiving table and they're like, Cam Reddish, what are you thankful for this year? It's like, I'm thankful I've won the NBA Cup. Or like, if you're going through the drive-thru at Taco Bell and you pull up to the window and you're like, yo, won the NBA Cup back in 23. Can I can I get an extra nacho sauce? Like it's the lamest. Are they going to do a reunion in 20 years? Like, and now we are welcoming back the 2023 NBA Cup champions, the Los Angeles Lakers. But like LeBron's
the
not
top 50
there.
players, the top 50 players in the NBA Cup.
Yeah, it's like Max Christie comes out with I don't know Max I don't know Austin Reeves. They've got matching jackets like 2023 NBA Cup champions. Like it's the stupidest thing ever. The reward for winning or getting into the NBA Cup is 2 extra hard games on your schedule.
Yeah, and it doesn't count for anything more. So if it was like 2 wins, then that would be awesome. Which they'll probably go that way. I'm sure they'll go like 3 wins for the championship. 2 wins if you make
that
it.
Would make
like
sense.
That would be a lot better. But I think that the hookers are free there in Vegas, so I think that's why Zion wants to go on all those players.
Oh yeah, he's like, he went last year. He's like, I want to go back so bad. He's licking his lips and
that's the only thing to look forward to, right?
But it literally, like, the only incentive in this thing is if you advance to the knockout round, you get to play teams that are hot enough to be in this competition. So you're just adding harder competition to your schedule that counts for the regular season. So I'm glad that the Suns didn't make it because, as you mentioned, they got the Utah Jazz and the Portland Trailblazers, 2 teams that are better than them in the Western Conference without KD, but still 2 bad teams in the Western Conference because we're the worst team in the Western Conference because we're 1-7 without Kevin Durant. So that winning percentage is pretty shitty. And so that's the reward. So why would you ever want to win that thing? I just don't understand it. And like, me, I gave it a chance last year. I tried my best to kind of buy in and find all the positives. And I feel like I do that holistically is I try to see something from all points of view. It's funny. I posted after the game tonight that the Phoenix Suns, are the worst team in the Western Conference after losing to the worst team in the Western Conference. If we don't have KD, we're 1-7. And somebody commented, he's like, aren't you the post all the Kevin Durant turnovers guy? I'm like, no, I'm the equal opportunity guy. You just happen to notice the anti-Kevin Durant stuff because of your bias, not mine. I see everything from all points of view, and I try to digest and put it out there as well as I can, knowing that being a human, it's going to be somewhat tainted by my biases and my emotion. But I will say that
what are you talking about right now?
I gave somebody out there who's listening totally understands what I'm saying. Somebody out there gets what I'm saying. But that being said, I did everything I could to try to understand and respect and buy into that NBA Cup. And it's just when a layman comes up to you and asks, like, what's the point of that thing? And you're like, nothing. It means nothing. I'm over it.
Yeah, but I like the idea. So I don't think I don't care if it exists. It's just they got to build on it. So take away the 5 games and have it worth extra games and extra wins or something like
Potentially,
that.
that's a good idea.
Then it makes sense. But last year it was cool because you just want to see what happens, right? You want to see how
Yeah.
stupid it is. Now you could tell with the way that teams are kind of playing the games, they just don't care as much. But yeah, Joey Lucio. Are you guys going to China next year? Hell yeah, we are. How did he know we're going
Well,
to China?
because the Suns are playing 2 preseason games against the Brooklyn Nets in China next year. So
Yeah, it's exciting.
we'll be there. I got to apply for my credentials and my passport, and we'll see you
I'm never
there.
coming
And
back,
that's the next time we're doing a podcast. So
I'll be in
subscribe, rate,
China the rest of
review,
the year. Yeah.
donate to Dave King's Brightside Night when you get a chance. And thank you for joining the show. We'll see you. I'll see you on Saturday. I know Matthew, you got plans Saturday, so I'll be looking for a sub. Maybe I'll get So Says Jay, and we'll just talk about turnovers the whole time.
You should. You guys should kiss and make out or make up. Go home and make out with each other. Love your family.